All right, so how bad is the quality of the Air Jordan 3 Retro, the reimagined white cement pair? We'll have a couple pairs here to compare them next to each other and just see how the quality is, because honestly, we've heard lots of horror stories, we've seen lots of pictures, and I wasn't sure if it was just some of the pairs that had some sort of elephant print issues, but it seems that they're mixing up the elephant print quite a bit. And honestly, in my opinion, it's not that big of a deal, but it's something I wanted to cover. At the end of the day, I have a little pair for Maddie. I got a little bit of a bigger pair for Harrison. I got one pair for myself, and then I actually got a second pair for myself. Sorry, wife. I got two for me, and I didn't get her a pair. She got the lost and found ones, though, let's be fair. And I didn't get those yet, so at least she has those ones. Any which way, this is a pair that I was actually really stoked that I got a double up on. I didn't even try on sneakers because I hit on a couple raffles. I hit on Finish Line and on Foot Locker raffle. Totally didn't expect to hit on either of those, but I have to tell you guys off the bat, like, basically looking at this shoe, I'm just like, okay, I know I already said in a previous video, like, they need to stop doing, they as in like sneakers in general, sneaker companies in general, need to stop bringing like the vintage to aged looking sneakers. Not every single pair needs a vintage to aged look to the sneakers. And then I'm like, dude, these look so good, like vintage. Like, so it depends on the pair and depends on the model. Obviously for an OG colorway of a Air Jordan 3 like this, it really, like, it makes sense to have like a vintage look to it. It doesn't make sense on other colorways necessarily in all models of every shoe that they end up releasing from all different companies. Nike's not the only one that does it. Obviously, there's a lot of other companies that kind of overproduced that in 2022. So that's something I think that needs to taper off a little bit in 23. But however, like, if you do it in the right mix, like, of course it's gonna look good. I mean, I like the look of the cream, like, aged midsole with the white, the contrast to the white as well. And just as an example, for those people that have older pairs of Air Jordans, like the back tab of these True Blue 3 samples that I have right here, notice the sample, it's the midsole that's a little bit different. It's the same energy as the white cements here. Usually the blue goes all the way up to the forefoot. But any which way, if you look at the back tab, it's definitely vintaged as well. However, the midsole is just that crispy white still. So the midsole might not make sense on this pair because it's Phylon and it is not something that's going to oxidize the same as like rubber, like on the pair of like Air Jordan 1s. Regardless, they did a good job on these though, and it's nice to see the Nike Air branding on the back, and it's just a great pair of Air Jordan 3 sneakers. One of the best colorways. I still like the black cements better, but this is up there with one of the best colorways of all time. So personally, I really like that they were bringing these back. I love this colorway. It's, again, just a classic for us sneaker folks out there, and it's great for the new generation as well. And part of the reason why I'm excited to do a little video and show my, because my kids actually haven't seen these yet, but I want to do a little video showing them Michael Jordan playing in these shoes and then basically giving them the shoes that he was playing in. But this is something that is it's pretty cool. So Maddie and Harrison now have a little bit of history just underneath their feet, and it's something I like to see. However, there is some discrepancies online about the quality of the product, and since I do have a handful of them out here in different sizes, I wanted to look at the elephant print and compare them. So this is a sample pair from the European release, which is actually one that happened before, like a year before the US release of the last retro of the True Blue 3s. And there's like some handwriting down here that says it from 05, so kind of crazy. But basically the elephant print on this one is a lot thicker. The pattern is definitely more pronounced through the upper of the shoe. Now, again, I'm going to reiterate, I personally don't care if you have mismatched elephant print like on your sneakers or if there's mismatched elephant print and some are just thinner and then some are like really, really bold. Personally, I don't really care because it's like if they're mocking like an elephant, like not every single elephant has the exact same print. So it's not that big of a deal. However, it is kind of weird when you look at one and you go, okay, this one's very, very bold. And then you look at another and go, oh, yikes, this one's like super thin. And then you're like, okay, well, that would have been nice if they actually had them done in the same manner. It would make it feel like it's done on a smaller scale, which of course we know it's not done on a small scale, but it would feel nice if it had the same print on both of the sneakers. So as I mentioned, I have a couple pairs and it's very apparent, like even on this pair, the toe section is a little bit thinner on one than the other one. It's a lot bolder. And then same as on the heel section of the shoe as well. It's very thin on one and bolder on the other. However, the other pair looks like it's the same energy throughout. And then the kids pair has the bolder lines as well on both pairs of the kid shoes. So some of them have a little fainter elephant print and some of them definitely have like a darker outline, and I think that's just going to be consistent with everybody that gets the shoes. And leave a comment in the comment section, did you guys get a pair that is mismatched or not? I was wondering if it was just an error of like all the left pairs being mismatched and then all the right pairs being mismatched, but it's not the case, obviously. It's one of those things where you're making a bunch of different shoes and they're making them and they run out of the print on one and then they just throw it on the next. It's just a mass factory of putting together a pair of sneakers. So ultimately, these type of things are going to happen. Do we like it? No. Have you also seen the pair that has the Nike Air on the back and then the Jumpman on the back as well? They actually threw a Jumpman on the heel tab as well. That's a pretty big flaw. But it's also the age of social where like one person can post a big, huge flaw and then people can go, wow, the quality control's out of control. But I mean, it's just a small sampling in the large population, the amount of sneakers that they actually end up producing. Now I have the free throw line pair as well. I'm not pulling them out for this video, and I've had previous versions of these as well. But this is like one of those shoes that they were retroing, like it feels like every 10 years, and now it's like every 5 they're bringing these things back. And ultimately, I feel like they could probably do it every 3, and it'll definitely sell out every single time. It's one of those things where it's like, okay, every single time there's going to be a re-up, I'm going to be like, oh yeah, I probably should grab one of those. There's a couple colorways that Jordan Brand does with that, and this is going to be one of them. As an overview for the upper, you have kind of a tumbled leather that is white through most of the upper, and then there is a non-tumbled leather that is around the mudguard section of the shoe, which is traditionally the way it goes. Also, you do have a widow's peak right down here, which is something you don't usually see on threes. It's something we've seen a lot in reps back in the day, like 10 years ago, but now they're bringing them back out with that, and I believe it's probably the way it was back in the day. I honestly am not a historian, though. I don't have the original pairs to be able to do that deep dive comparison. And also, something I also want to point out is like when you have the original pairs, they're handmade and they're made differently as well. So one handmade pair from 88 or whatever is not going to be exactly the same as the next handmade pair from 88. Same thing with modern days. It's just something to throw out there. Some people I think get too focused on the fact it was like, well, the shape is this and this is that. But like really ultimately, I'm sure there's some truth to that. But at the end of the day, ultimately, I don't think people are really going to care about the shape of the Air Jordan 3s. That's just my personal opinion. But anyway, you have red eyelets down here on the bottom and then white or off-white eyelets up towards the top, and that is attached to a perforated leather, and then there's a perforated leather on the tongue as well as around the collar. You have a white liner on the back and then a red liner on the reverse side of the tongue. You have the aged look on the back tab with the Nike Air branding, not the Jumpman. For those that don't know the significance there, Jordan Brand, Nike, the same company basically, but Jordan Brand split off, I think, when the Jordan, 8 or 9 came out, somewhere around that era. Any which way, the Nike Air branding was very prominent on the earlier models because it was a Nike Air Jordan, and then Jordan Brand, it was just Air Jordan from that point. I think like the 8s or whatever, 9s, they separated out and it was just Air Jordans from that point on. But that is why it's nice. The original ones had the Nike Air branding on it. There's the Nike branding on the bottom. So it's kind of nice that they're bringing those back in the original colorways. It doesn't make sense when it's not original colorway for the most part, but some people just prefer to see the Nike on a pair of Air Jordans. Then you do have a red embroidered Jumpman on the tongue, and then black eyelets at the very top next to that. The very controversial elephant print on the toe box section of the shoe as well as around the heel collar. And then the midsole has that aged look, but also has the back half of it in black, and then a little bit of white in the front. Cement on the bottom with the red, and also the red on the Nike Air, and then a red on the insole of the Nike Air branding as well. So I think a lot of people are going to agree that this is a great colorway. It's great to see a nice version of these coming back. Yes, there's some issues. Yes, there's some flaws, but ultimately I don't think it's going to really be too off-putting to most of the consumers out there, because when you're wearing them on your feet, nobody's going to really look and go, oh, wait, why is that one so much different than the other one? However, when they did that on Sneakers Live and they showed the shoes, I think caught a lot of people off guard. But ultimately, I think that it is a problem. I wish it wouldn't be the way it is, but unfortunately it is. And again, like I said, not every elephant has the same amount of wrinkly look to it. So the sneakers can be the same way. Maybe it's more authentic that way. I don't know. But leave a comment in the comment section. What do you guys think? Appreciate y'all for stopping by and watching. If you guys enjoy sneaker content, please consider subscribing to the channel, and then hit the like button if you guys enjoyed the content as well. Have a good one, and hopefully see you back on the channel for some more videos. All right, peace, guys.